At your age, is sex a big deal in your relationships right now? What you got?
It was at this moment that he knew.
If I told you you were beautiful, would you date me on the regular? Tell me, would you? Well, baby, I've been around the world, but I ain't seen myself another girl like you.
Hi guys, welcome back to Date the Nerd. I'm Christy.
And I'm Elon. Like always, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We got another great video for y'all today. It's everything relationships.
So it's getting cold, guys, and everybody wants somebody to snuggle up with. We're going to be talking about relationships today and things that we've both learned about relationships. So tune in.
Okay, Mom. So what do you feel about the butterflies as we get in a relationship? That feeling in your stomach, like, this is my man, we're going to be together forever. Like, what do you feel about that?
Well, as someone who has been love bombed, we'll talk more deeply about that later, but someone who's been love bombed, what I've learned is that the butterflies basically is BS.
For real?
For real? I think it's BS, to be honest with you. It's nice. It's wonderful being in love. They compare being in love, like the very beginning, the butterfly effect is like this feeling, this adrenaline, that increase in dopamine that you get from like being on drugs. They say being in love sometimes feels like being on drugs. Like you're high on drugs or something, right? But just think about that for a second. You're feeling butterflies about someone that you know nothing about, that you've not gone through anything difficult with. And I believe that butterfly effect sometimes can be a warning sign. It can be an internal warning signal that that person may not be right for you. And I'm going to be honest with you. Everybody I've ever felt the butterflies for, it didn't work out. It did not work out. You know, that feeling, oh my God, I want to be with him all the time. And I just realized as I've gotten older that a healthy relationship takes time. Just like anything worth having in life, to me, it takes a little bit of time. So yeah, it's great if you feel something in the very beginning, but don't feel bad and don't always discount a person just because you don't feel that butterfly feeling or whatever, because sometimes the butterflies can be a warning signal and sometimes the butterflies can be BS. Okay. When you're in a relationship, because I know how close you are with your girls, do you typically tell your girlfriends about what's going on in your relationship?
Yeah, I definitely do. But that's something that I've learned is not a good thing to do. You cannot always put your favorite cousin or your best friend in your business. It's really not good.
But what are the reasons why, though? What are the reasons why?
For the simple fact of sometimes you get so invested in telling your business and telling all the wrong that he did. You're not going to tell what you did all the time. That they sometimes end up resenting your partner. And you don't want that either.
That's the number one reason. You know why? Because if you're in a relationship, you're going to have your ups and downs. You're going to have arguments and stuff. When you guys make up, your friends
they still feel that way.
They still feel that way.
Still feel that way
because they're not emotionally attached to them. They're not romantically attached to them. So even when you guys make up, they're still not cool.
And there's no worse feeling than bringing your partner around your people, and it's just that disconnect.
Exactly.
When they know what he did last week and stuff, and they don't feel the same love towards him, you don't want that. So I would say it's okay to confide in your closest people, but be careful what you tell them.
What you tell them.
Especially if you know that you typically go back to that man. And also, if you really have somebody you can confide in, be real with the part that you played in the conflict too. So yeah.
That part.
Yep. That part. Okay, Mom. I'm 20 years old. I've dated some older men.
What?
Just chill. I've dated some men my age. Why are men so confusing? Why are they so complicated?
They're really not.
Okay, I'm gonna listen.
They're really not. Women are actually more complicated. I would say complex than men. We have different layers, right? And you know what? I'm speaking from my worldview. Remember, when we do this podcast, we're speaking from our own experience. Yes, I'm a therapist, but when I'm speaking on this podcast, for the most part, I'm just having a conversation with my daughter. Okay, I'm not operating as a clinician on this podcast. From my experience, men typically tell you everything that they want. Or they show you, right? And if you are feeling confused, it is normally not the right person. Okay? Relationships and true love, it doesn't feel confusing. It really does. So if it's feeling confusing, that's probably... And if a man makes you wonder and ponder if he wants you, if he's playing games with you or whatever.
Yeah.
It can be a little bit of emotional abuse in there. You just never really know. But you ask, why are they so confusing? The right man won't be confusing. He'll be very definitive about if he wants you or not. You know what I mean? So I would say men are very simple. A lot of times they tell you exactly what you want. A lot of times women, we just don't want to hear because we want what we want.
Yes.
They'll tell us in so many ways. Sometimes when you first meet them, and I've heard several men tell women in the very beginning, I don't want a relationship, and you still continue to deal with them. Like, why are you continuing to deal with somebody that told you? And I've had one guy told me one time, I'm not very good at relationships. See you later.
Yeah.
Because I am. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to work out if you're not good in relationships.
I'm naturally like wifey material, as you say. So I naturally want to love in that way.
Mm-hmm.
So investing in someone who doesn't want a relationship is just never going to turn out
exactly.
good.
And so that will feel confusing.
Yeah.
That will feel confusing.
Like I'm doing all the right things. Why he still don't want to settle down? But he already told you that he didn't want to settle down from the jump.
Yeah. He just, the thing about it, ladies, he just don't want to settle down with you. Not you. I mean, in general,
no, in general.
If you feel that confused, generally it's not that they're so confusing that men don't know what they want. They possibly just don't want you. You know what I mean? They don't want you. And guess what, ladies? That's okay. Yeah. Because why would you want him if he doesn't want you?
No, for real.
At your age, is sex a big deal in your relationships right now? What you got going on?
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
I don't want to hear this, y'all.
So,
she grown.
One thing I've learned is sex is important, but sex should not be the only time you feel love from your partner. Mm-hmm. Sex should not be the only bonding time you have with your partner. You should not feel your sexiest or prettiest or most loved when you're having sex or when you're being intimate. And that's one thing I've learned. Sex is definitely a great thing to have. You know what I'm saying? It's a great thing to have. It's great to make love. That's cool and all. You know what I'm saying? Children are made from sex. You know, it's not a sensitive topic anymore. But I've learned that should not be the fundamental basis of a relationship at this age. Like, absolutely not. That's a plus. That's a bonus. That's cool. You know what I'm saying? But you have to have an intellectual bond. You know what I'm saying?
I believe sex is important in relationships, right? And I think if it's the right, it's the right union, it's definitely important, but you're right about that. It should not be. And you know what else I've learned too? It's not a good idea to lead with sex if you don't want the relationship to be just about sex. Now, if you want it to be just about sex and y'all just kicking it, that's fine. But if you know that you want something more, it's probably a good idea to get to know the person and let that person get to know you, what you like, what you dislike, what you believe, just figure out what you really want before you give that person your body.
It's
right?
Okay. It's okay to make him take you on a date first before he get that cookie.
It is absolutely.
No, that's right.
It's okay. The last episode, I said I would be single for a minute. Things have changed. Y'all, I really have sparked interest in a fella. And I just want to know, how do you know when you've met the one?
Because I know for sure that you can possibly have different relationships throughout your life. You have to ask yourself the question, is he the one for now? Right? The one for now, if it continues to grow, it can end up being the one forever, but you don't need to be worried about that. You need to focus on, is this the right person for where I am in my life right now? And some of the ways that you can tell is, for me, what I have learned is, do I feel safe in the presence of this particular person? I don't mean just physically. Do I feel safe emotionally? Do I feel free? Do I feel like that I can still be who I need to be, do what I need to do for myself without feeling controlled, manipulated? Is this a person, if I'm growing, is this a person that's going to be growing in a similar direction? It doesn't have to be the same direction, but you guys need to be at least going parallel to each other, headed to your perspectives, things in life or whatever, right? And not somebody that holds you back. The big thing, though, to go back to what I was saying was, I personally have to feel mentally, emotionally, and physically safe. The person has to feel like home. Like, does he feel like home to you? When you come home, you feel like a warm, cozy. That's how I like to feel in my relationships.
I like that. I'm learning that too. It's a feeling. It's definitely
It's a feeling.
It's not like a.
And it's not always butterflies.
It's not a butterfly feeling, though.
Right.
It's a. You know what? I would not mind spending the rest of my life with you. I like how I feel. I like how I feel when I'm around you. I like myself. You make me like myself.
That right there. How do you feel? Not just how you feel about them. How do you feel about yourself when you're around this person?
I remember being in a relationship and I start being depressed. I was mad at myself. I used to feel like, I feel so sluggish. Why am I getting treated like this? Why am I allowing this? You're the man who makes you feel like, yes, like I'm with a great man. He treats me so well. I deserve this. Like, you know what I'm saying? He encouraged me. I want to be a better woman for him or whatever your partner is, even if it's a woman, even if it's a man. I want to be a better partner for them. They make me be a better person. Ooh!
I wish I knew. I wish I knew what she knows at 20 when I was 20 years old.
I feel like I was just preaching for a second.
That is true. It's not just about how you feel about them. How do you feel about yourself when you're with them?
Yay.
That's kind of a segue into this next question. How did your last relationship influence your next relationship? Like the relationship you're in right now, your new relationship.
My new relationships.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
And I think I want to answer that question too.
If I can be completely honest, I have a new lover, but I just want to say new relationships, period. I've learned that when you are not with the right person, there will never be harmony. You can try. There will never be peace. You will always have a little voice in your head that listen to your gut. That little anxiety you get, that little, you know what I'm saying, that little insecurity that keeps sparking. When you're with the wrong person, it shows. There will never be harmony. And I realized that. I'm not saying I've just met the love of my life, but at the beginning, I can tell he's a good person for me. We all have several soulmates. I can tell he's a good person for me. I feel at peace when we're around. I feel like I always want to be in your presence. I don't question anything. That's one thing I learned in my last relationship. I was just worried a lot. I was like, even when things were good, pay attention when things are good. When things are good and your spirit is still shaky. Like, what's that about? Like, I don't like that.
It's your internal warning signal.
Yes.
Right? And sometimes, like I said, it feels like, ooh, the butterflies, it makes you nervous. You feel nervous when you're around them. It's your adrenaline. It's that same adrenaline that happens when you're in danger. Think about it. And you have, and that feeling sometimes is the fight or flight response. That butterfly feeling. So just be mindful of what you feel. And like you said, you know, feeling nervous, feeling uneasy or whatever. Sometimes it's your spirit trying to warn you. Yeah. That's what I believe. Okay, these are opinions here. So
yeah, I agree. Okay, Mom. I'm becoming a woman. I'm becoming a woman. I'm becoming a little woman. I'm trying to learn who I am, what I require. What are your must-haves in a relationship? And is that important to know from the jump?
Oh yeah. It's called setting standards. It's one of the biggest mistakes that I've made in my life is when, see, the thing about it is, in order for you to, you know, they say people make all these lists or whatever. I don't believe in all the lists. Some of those lists are ridiculous, but you do need to have a set of standards that you live by. You know what I mean? Like certain things you're not going to tolerate. And yes, if you know, like for instance, I'm a spiritual person. I know that I probably is going to be better off with a person that's a spiritual person. Doesn't have to be all religious or anything like that, but just somebody that acknowledges that we have a higher power, that there's a God, right? Otherwise,
lives their life that way.
Actually walks the talk. And I don't mean like gotta go to church every Sunday. Like, I mean, just literally has a reverence for something higher.
A good person, yeah.
The other thing is someone who can communicate and express their feelings. And I don't have to always be the one, how do I put this?
The initiator of communication.
The initiator of communication all the time or whatever. I think that can cause a problem in relationships. But you know what I said earlier, the big things that I have to be with a partner that allows me to be free. That I don't have to pretend to be anything other than who I am. You know, that I can, you know, aspire to you know, my dreams, and that I can assist him in aspiring to his. You know,
together.
We can grow together, and we don't have to agree on every single thing, but we have to agree even when we disagree. We have to agree to disagree. So just somebody, you know, that believes in me, right? Because I'm going to believe in him. And honestly, you know what's really important to me? Consistency.
Consistency. And another thing is, as much as we're talking of like internal characteristics, at my age, it's different because you're a grown up, like a real grown up.
You're a grown up too.
I'm a grown up, but mommy, a lot of people my age, they do not have cars, which is okay. But I've realized that's a necessity for me. And that sounds so like shallow and stuff like that. But I've realized like, no, I'm blessed with my own like place, my own car, my own things. I make my own money. My boyfriend needs to have that. And I hate to sound shallow when I say that, but sometimes I think of things.
It's important to you.
That's important to me because if my boyfriend calls me and he's stranded at 3:00 in the morning and he say, "Babe, come get me," I can come get you. I would like for you to be able to do that for me.
You know what that plays into? What I just talked about, safety.
Yes.
It is important. Because think about it, as women, that's one of the things that we really need from guys. We need to feel safe. And think about it, if he can't come get you, how you gonna be safe? You stand on the side of the road, you know.
And it's like I know like everyone's situation is different, but that's important to me. And I realized I always ran away from that. Oh, it's okay as long as he's a good person. No, baby, you need to have a car. Like, I'm sorry, you need to have a car.
What about this? Well, I mean, I guess where we live, you do. Like I was gonna say, in New York, not everybody has a car in New York. So.
In Georgia, Atlanta, baby, you need to come get me. They come get me. You need a car. Yeah, but yeah.
Hey, I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's what you need. You know, I need consistency. Mm-hmm. I need you to not be one way at 2:00 and you different at 10:00 the next day. I need consistency. Like I need you to be the same kind of person. Treat me. And if anything, you need to be leveling up. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? No, for real. Consistency is very, very important.
Even at the beginning of the relationship, still tell me I'm beautiful 3 months from now.
Exactly. Exactly. But when I say consistency, I mean just do what you say you're going to do. Mm-hmm. When you say you're going to do it, how you say you're going to do it.
Be impeccable with your word.
Impeccable with your word.
Yes.
Did I teach you that?
Like, I don't know where this is coming from.
The 4 agreements.
Yeah.
You read it, didn't you?
She definitely gives me books.
Yes.
Okay.
I was like, how does she know that? She read the 4 agreements.
Yeah.
Be impeccable. Be impeccable with your word. Okay, that is very important to me in a relationship. Okay. Right. I know you're dating and you're seeing someone new, right? How do you, well, in the past, because you guys haven't gotten to that stage yet, but how do you navigate arguments in a relationship?
So I would say that I want to do better in this relationship. In my last relationship and previously, and I can just speak from experience. I have a lot of friends, a lot of peers. We oftentimes want to do this whole, you're wrong, I'm right. Mm-hmm. I don't want to do that no more. If we're going to be together and we're supposed to be on the same team, just like your teammates, what's the resolution?
Us against them.
It's us against them. Mm-hmm. So I want to figure out our goal. Mm-hmm. And then we work towards that. Hey, babe, I don't like the way you said that. It triggered me when you said that. But you know what? I shouldn't have said that. Even that, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Take accountability. I want to take accountability. I really, and I'm not just saying.
I think you're gonna be okay, baby.
I think I'm gonna be okay. Like honestly, my next relationship, I want it to be so raw. Like for real. I want the communication to be top tier. I genuinely do not want it to be whenever we get mad at each other. It's just like. Clashing. No, it's
and
us
you know what's
against the problem.
You know what's worse than clashing? That silent treatment. That passive aggressive behavior. You just shut down. You don't talk. That's worse than arguing. I'm not gonna lie. That's worse than arguing. You're gonna have to work on that because that's actually worse than arguing. I'm guilty of it too. We just shut down, even if you don't argue. To me, arguing. At least you're communicating. When you shut down for days at a time or whatever, that is so damaging.
Y'all know after an argument when it's just kind of like that hurt. You said something to hurt my feelings, but at least I know how you feel.
Exactly.
Okay, mommy. So I asked you, how do you know when you've met the one? I asked you what's your must-haves. But one thing that I feel like a lot of young girls or just women in general or men in general don't know, how do you know when to leave the relationship? I want to end it like that. How do you know when to leave the relationship?
Who, child? If only. If you know my story, if only, right? I think if you feel abused in any way, and I don't mean just physically, but if you feel abused emotionally, mentally, financially, spiritually, religious-wise, whatever, if you feel abused in any kind of way, meaning that relationship is just damaging to you in any kind of way and draining you in any kind of way, that's a good sign that you may want to consider leaving. I wish I knew then what I know now. I stuck around a little too long in a few relationships, but
you're here to teach me though.
It is what it is,
and you're here to tell them some knowledge.
Exactly, too. And so that's why we're doing these videos, because I'm older, I'm several years older than my daughter, of course. But at her age, because they're just built differently, they know more stuff than we did. And I think it's because we were sheltered. Life was just different. We didn't have all of the media influences that they have that's teaching them a lot of stuff or whatever, even outside of what they learned from their parents. But you guys are exposed to so much stuff that we were not exposed to.
Mm-hmm.
I never felt like I can't learn something from her, even though I am her mother, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we're doing this channel so that we can explore things together, so that we can maybe, educate you guys on some stuff. And please let us know if there's some topics that you want us to talk about. Yes, I am a therapist, but I am a woman before anything else.
Yes.
And I've been married, I've been divorced, I had experienced abuse, and so I've just learned some things. And what I know for certain is that we learn more from our mistakes than we learn from our successes. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
And I'm grateful for that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to talk about sex on a podcast with my mom.
Yeah.
You see what I'm like? That's important. I don't think that's recognized enough. Mm-hmm. She wasn't seeing podcasts with a daughter and a mother talking about conversations, like having conversations like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's essential for evolution, like communication,
dialogue. All this. So anyway, we hope that this was helpful to someone. And when we speak, like I said, because I don't want this to be an overly clinical channel, because I'm sitting here having a conversation with my daughter. I'm not her therapist.
This is my mom, for real.
You know what I'm saying? I'm a licensed therapist, but this is not my client. Mm-hmm. So when I'm in this space right here, yes, I have a lot of knowledge, but a lot of my knowledge comes from my own worldview, my own experiences, and Elon as well. She's very, very, smart. She's very, very smart.
So yeah, y'all, that's the things that we learned about relationships from both our points of views. Like she said, we want to take all feedback. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. We have great content coming for you guys. Make sure you date the nerd. Make sure you're being kind. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. Mm-hmm. Have a happy holidays. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.